You've got 45 minutes left on your lunch break, and you're already dreading the 3 p.m. meeting. Here's the thing. For 95% of human history, that sentence wouldn't have made any sense. Not because life was easier back then, because job wasn't a word that existed yet. No boss, no paycheck, no Sunday Scaries. And somehow, they were doing just fine. You've probably grown up believing something like this. Work is just what humans do. We're built for the grind. Wake up, hustle, survive. That's the deal. That's always been the deal. Except it isn't. Modern humans have been around for roughly 300,000 years. Jobs, in any form you'd recognize, have existed for maybe the last 200. Do the math on that, and you get something wild. We've spent about 99.9% of our existence not working the way you work right now. So what were they doing with all that time? Turns out, a lot more than you'd think, and a lot less than you're doing this week. Let's actually break down a day in the life. Chapter 1. The Work Week That Wasn't. In the 1960s, an anthropologist named Richard Lee spent time with the Kung San, a hunter-gatherer group in the Kalahari Desert. He tracked exactly how much time they spent getting food. The number he came back with was around 15 to 20 hours a week, not a day, a week. Marshall Solins took that stat and called hunter-gatherers the original affluent society, not because they had a lot of stuff, but because they didn't need a lot of stuff. Their wants were small, so meeting them was easy. Now, full honesty, because this stat gets thrown around a lot without the fine print. More recent studies, like one out of Cambridge on the Agda people in the Philippines, put the real number closer to 30 hours a week, once you count food prep and tool making. So somewhere between suspiciously easy and still not bad. Even the higher number is a third less than what most people clock in a normal work week. And that's before you add the commute, before you add checking Slack at 9 p.m., before you add literally any of the stuff currently ruining your Sunday night. So yeah, they were working less than you, and they didn't even have coffee. Chapter 2. Bigger, stronger, healthier without a gym membership. Here's where it gets counterintuitive. You'd assume farming, actual agriculture, actual real food production, made life better, right? More food, more stability, more everything. Skeletons say otherwise. Archaeologists comparing pre-agricultural remains to early farming societies found something backwards. The hunter-gatherers were generally taller, had denser bones, and way fewer dental problems than the first farmers that came after them. Turns out, living off 1 or 2 crops all year isn't great for you. Who knew? Meanwhile, hunter-gatherers weren't doing CrossFit. They didn't have leg day. They just had the whole day. Walking, climbing, carrying, tracking, built into being alive, not scheduled into a calendar app. So if farming produced more food, but made people shorter, sicker, and worked harder for it, why on earth did we switch? Hold that thought. We're getting there. Chapter 3. What they actually did with the free time. So they're not spending 60 hours a week gathering roots. What are they doing instead? Making art, apparently. The Lion Man of Hohenstein-Stadel, a tiny ivory figure, half human, half lion, is around 40,000 years old. That's older than agriculture, older than cities, older than writing by tens of thousands of years. Someone carved it anyway. Around the same time, someone else carved a flute out of a vulture bone. Cave walls in France still have paintings on them from over 30,000 years ago. Animals, hunts, handprints, pressed there by someone who had absolutely no practical reason to do it. This wasn't a side hustle. It wasn't something squeezed in after real work was done. Creating things was part of a normal day, the same way scrolling your phone is part of yours, except theirs left something behind that lasted 40,000 years. Chapter 4. The original social network. No contracts, no money, no HR department to complain to. So how did anyone survive? Relationships. That's it. That was the whole safety net. Storytelling wasn't entertainment on the side. It was the internet. Which plants will kill you, where the water is, who you can trust, who you can't. All of it lived in stories, passed around a fire, night after night. Small talk wasn't filler either. Small talk could keep you alive. Then, everything changed. About 10,000 to 12,000 years ago, agriculture shows up. And this is the part that should genuinely bother you. Farming was supposed to make life easier, right? Instead, it did the opposite. More food meant more people. More people meant more mouths. More mouths meant more work, all the time, just to keep everyone fed. Land became something you could own. Surplus became something you could hoard. And once some people had more than others, you got your first haves and nots. And eventually, the idea that your time and labor could be traded for resources. That idea never really went away. It just got a name. We call it a job. So that 3 p.m. meeting you're dreading, that Sunday Scaries feeling creeping in already, none of that is natural. None of that is hardwired into being human. It's the leftover residue of a decision made 10,000 years ago. Not something we evolved to do, but something we built, then forgot we built. Next time you're dragging through a Tuesday, it's worth asking, who actually decided this was normal?